Oh my gosh, Charlotte Knight is with us, guys, and I am so excited. If you are not familiar with Ciate, listen, today is the day I'm going to put you on. It's going to be a fun chat. Charlotte, how are you?
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for having me. It's so good to hook up with you again. And yeah, I'm fabulous.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been like 2019 when we first met, when you had your
I
dinner in
know.
New York. It was so amazing. And I feel like I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm like, was that 5 years ago? Because the way that time feels now, it's so different.
I know. It's almost like pre-COVID and post-COVID of like, what were you
Right.
doing in the world? And when was the last time I was even in New York? Like, I'm trying to
Right.
think it back. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. So how has things been with everything opening up? I know, London is sort of open. Where in the UK are you?
So I live in a suburb called Surrey, which is outside London, but our offices are in London.
Okay.
So yeah. So I mean, London is back open again. The UK is back open again, but hopefully we stay open. I mean, there's
Yeah.
lots of conversation about the Delta variant and etc. etc. So I don't want to be negative, but I really hope we stay open this time. I think everyone is just over it,
Yeah. I
really.
totally
But
feel that.
we just have to keep people safe. So if we have
Yeah.
to, we have to do whatever we have to do to keep everyone safe.
Exactly. But I actually really want to hear a lot more about your upbringing in London and Dublin because I mean, I know the brand, I use the brand, but I was just like, I always have a different relationship when I know more about the founder. So I would love for you to share some of that.
Yeah, no, of course. So I was born in Kent in England, and spent most of my, well, up until 21, I was here and, studied here and had my first job here, learned how to do nails in
Mhm.
London. So the whole New York nail bar scene was hitting London about 22 years ago. And I know that New Yorkers have kind of grown up and are used to having their weekly manicure, even from being teenagers, but it just really wasn't the way being a teenager in the UK. So when it hit, I became obsessed immediately. Like the ability to go to a little specialized nail bar and have all of this crazy nail art and cool looking nails weekly with your girlfriends. I mean, it was a dream to us Brits. So it was really hitting, and I thought, you know what, this would be such a great skill to actually learn because you can take it with you wherever you go in the world. I wasn't quite sure at the age of 20 what I was going to be, what I was going to do. Kind of came out of college, what just didn't have a clear direction about what I wanted to do with my life, which is kind of scary, but at the same time, I was having fun and it was great. And so I knew I wanted to travel a lot. So I thought if I could learn a skill that I could basically enable me to earn money no matter where I am in the world, because there's a need from everyone around the world for this. And if one day I decide to have kids and I become a stay-at-home mom, I could still use this skill. So invested into a little course and learned how to do gel nails and manicures, and really just used to go around and offer mobile services to friends and family friends, and it was quite hilarious, but it was fun. And at the time I was working for a big property company in London, and
Mhm.
they were building the Four Seasons Hotel in London. And so spent a lot of time working with the hotel manager, and she started getting me to do her nails. And anyway, long story short, the hotel was built and the job was over. And so because I'd built such a nice relationship with the GM of the hotel, she said, hey, listen, we're building a hotel in Dublin, and I'd really love you to come across and be part of the team. I was part of like kind of a link between the designers and the architects, and obviously I was an assistant, right? But it was
Right.
really fun because I've always had major creative juices. Kind of felt I wanted to do something interior design or
Right.
something in creative design world. I knew that that's where I got the most fulfillment. And so she said, look, can you go to Dublin, go and work on the hotel in Dublin? So I, off the cuff, like, it was on a whim, turned around to my mom and I was like, hey, mom, I'm moving to Dublin. I mean, I'm now a mother, and I can't even imagine how upset I would be. I'm now a mother of a 15-year-old, and I cannot even imagine. I would be holding on to her ankles, not letting her leave the door if she told me that she was moving away to another country at 20 years of age. But I was, I was like, I'm going to Dublin. I'm going to work on this hotel project, and I'll be back in a year, because it was a year's project. Anyway, 2 months later, moved myself to Dublin. And unfortunately, the hotel project was all put on ice because the builders fell out with the council, and their planning permission was kind of put on hold. And so there I found myself in Dublin. I was like, oh my goodness, I have done this whole kind of exit from everyone at home. Oh, look at me, I'm moving to Dublin. I've got this amazing job. The Four Seasons have transferred me. And all of a sudden, it wasn't happening. So I was not going to be beat. I was not going to go home with my tail between my legs and kind of like, oh, I'm home, Mom. So I thought, okay, I'm going to figure this out. But in the meantime, I'm going to have 2-3 months of absolute fun. I'd moved over with a friend, and it was like the most perfect time for the Irish economy. They were going through the Celtic Tiger. People had so much money. There was all these new restaurants opening, nightclubs opening. It was like the best place to be. Right time, right place. So myself and my friend just decided that we were going to live it large for 3 months and just go crazy. And we certainly did. And through that kind of little party 3 months that I got out of my system, and thank goodness I got it out of my system, because what was about to happen was going to change my life forever. And then little did I know I was never going to get time to party for 3 months for 20 years because I started my own business. So very incredible moment. I went into a Tony and Guy hair salon, getting a blow dry, chatting to the guy doing my hair, and he happened to be the salon owner. And I was telling him all about the trend in London, how the nail bar scene had hit from New York to London, and there was absolutely no nail bars in Ireland, let alone Dublin, the city. None. You could go to a beauty salon and have a manicure,
Right.
but there was no specialist nail bars. And so he said to me, hey, Charlotte, do you know how to do nails? And I said, well, funny you should say that. I actually went on a course in London about 6 months ago, and I'm not the best in the world, but I'm getting better. And he said, well, okay, what if I gave you my shop window to put a nail bar in? Would you know what to do? So I'm there thinking, hello, Miss Entrepreneur. Would I know what to do? Damn right, I know what to do.
Let's go.
And so I had no clue what I was doing. Obviously, like I hadn't had a business before. I hadn't, it just was all new to me. But you know what? When you're determined, you quickly learn, and you speak to people, and you gather a network of people to guide you. And so the next phone call my mum got was, hey, Mum, can you loan me £2,000? I'm opening a nail bar in Dublin. And she was just, oh my goodness, Charlotte, like what's going on? Like, but I'm like, believe in me, Mom, believe in me, it's happening. So she sent me over the money, and then 2-3 months later, the nail bar opened.
Wow.
And that was like the start of my world, my life in business, really. I started young. I had just turned 21. And the nail bar was a roaring success. People were traveling from all over Ireland to come and get their nails done in the salon, because they had never had anything like this before. Quickly, the nail bar was really being used for, there was a TV show there, kind of like a styling show, where people would go on and they'd get a style makeover. And they used to come to our salon and film for the nail part of this person's style makeover. Mm-hmm. So I started being on TV a lot. I started being the resident beauty therapist on their daytime TV in Ireland. And so just everything kind of led into something else. And before you knew it, I was getting asked to do nails for front cover shoots for magazines. And then that led to doing Fashion Week, multiple seasons. And so everything just kind of, it was never I didn't sit there with a business plan and go, okay, this is how this is going to play out. I just opened a nail bar, and then doors opened, and it just grew and grew. And before I knew it, I was traveling the world, doing fashion shows with Alexander McQueen and Stella McCartney, Vivienne Westwood. It was just incredible.
I love your story. I had no idea But that actually leads me into my next question, because I think, as a makeup artist being on set, like we have a different understanding. Like people don't realize like, oh yeah, I'm going to be on set for 16 to 20 hours. It's going to be amazing though. Like, don't worry, this is going to be amazing. How was your experience like backstage and doing fashion week? Did that shape your career? Like what you did in the salon? Because it's very on trend, most of the times like we're doing things that's for the next year, and you're pushing the envelope. So like how did that shape your career and your business?
I mean, it shaped my career and the career I have today hugely. It didn't necessarily shape the nail bars, because people in the nail bar were, it was all pretty much French manicure, and that was the trend there, having white tips on your nails, and
Right.
nobody really wanted to be super adventurous, and they certainly didn't want to be wearing a look that's not even going to be out as a trend for another 6 months or whatever.
Right.
But
Right.
what it did do was, I mentioned earlier about my creative juices, it fed that, like being on set and being around all of the amazing creative people that work on a set, work backstage at fashion week, your makeup artists, your hairstylists, photographers, your creative directors, you name it,
Right.
everybody's there. And just being around all of these people, I knew that this is where I wanted to be. And at the time I had a very service orientated business, which, whilst amazing, and you get to sit and it's very intimate with your customer, it's very demanding in terms of demanding on me. Like if I wasn't there doing the nails and being in the seat doing the nails, then it's quite a hard business to scale. And I found when I was backstage at Fashion Week, all that time on set, there is a lot of downtime as well. And that's when I could get my little sketchbook out and would start sketching what my product would look like if I was one day able to create a product. And then the vision for my product was nail polish, because obviously my background was nail. And so I used to sit there with my sketchbook, like drawing what my bottle of polish would look like if I ever created it. Because the thing was, when I was on set, you would kind of bespoke a color for the runway. So you'd never take a bottle of polish from a brand and then that would be the color you use. You would be blending 4 or 5 different tones or different pigments from multiple brands. And so the finished look is exactly what you needed, the perfect nude to complement the fashion that's going on the runway. But then people would come to me on set and be like, that nude, it's the most perfect, like the models. I have never worn a nude that's so perfect for my skin tone. This is my perfect nude. How can I buy it? And then I'd find myself like, oh my goodness, you can't. Okay. So then I started getting these little empty glass bottles and having them in my kit. And I would pour it and make a little tiny samples, bottles of the color, knowing full well that the show would end and there'd be 4 or 5 people would say, can I get that? What is that shade? Where can I buy that? This is a perfect nude for me, or a perfect red. And so I would there and I'd give them, I'd say, listen, it's hand blended, but here it is. And every single bottle used to have a black little bow tied around the top. And that is why today you still see on all of our products a bow, because it's like our little, it's our synonymous little motif to where it all started. And so that's kind of like how it came about. I used to sit there sketching and dreaming really of like, could I ever make this happen? How would I make it happen? And that's kind of where the kind of seed was sown of one day having Ciate.
I love that. Well, you know what they say, you have to write it down and you'll make it happen. Just write things down and it'll happen. Now, Ciate launched in 2009, right? And there was a particular product that really changed the trajectory of the brand. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, of course. So when we first started in 2009, I had a handful of product. I think it was about 24 shades of nail polish. We sold to a handful of stores, and I mean like 10 stores around the world. It was teeny, teeny, tiny. I had one person who would come to my house and work from my front room. And I feel like I've done a 360 because I'm back in my front room. But she would come to me, we'd pack up the orders, invoice the orders, da 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 da. Anyway, at the time we were really trying to knock on Sephora's door and get a listing in Sephora, because we knew if we could get a listing in Sephora, then that would be our our journey would begin. And I used to really kind of stalk the buyer and kind of say, oh yeah, there must be room. And in the end, she's like, look, Charlotte, I'll give you, we're full, but I can give you space in 4 locations. So we decided, you know what, it's going to cost us more money to service this account with 4 doors than we will actually return, but it doesn't matter. It's our starting point. Anyway, a couple of weeks later, I was working on a photo shoot and I was kind of messing around with the model, and I had this little bottle of beads from Michael's in my kit, and I poured them onto a plate, and the model that we were working with had the most incredible, natural, juicy lips. And I said, hey, Stacey, let me put these on your lips. And this is way before the Instagram lip art that we all know, and like that's all familiar to us now because that's all over our Instagram feed. But this is way before that. Put them all over her lips, poured them into her wet nail polish on her nails, and then we shot the image. And as soon as we shot the image, and we were messing around, it wasn't like on the shot list, there was this kind of like moment on set where everybody was kind of, wow, that's actually like a piece of art.
Right.
Like, that is
silent.
And it was like all of us kind of got a bit kind of, hairs were raised on the arm, and it was a bit like, what have we just done there? And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to do my biggest hustle of my life, and I'm going to send this image raw, like hadn't been retouched or cleaned up or anything. I'm going to send it to my buyer in Sephora and just show her what I'm working on next. Bearing in mind, this was created using a tiny little bottle of micro beads from Michael's. I had no idea how to industrialize this product or how to scale it or anything, or where I would even buy beads on mass production from anywhere. And I sent the image to her, and she called me back 5 minutes later, absolutely giddy with excitement about this product. Anyway, conversations continued, and we ended up putting that product in 3 colorways into all Sephora doors. And we managed to deliver it to them 3 months after I sent that image, which is just crazy timing. And it was our biggest success, and still today remains our biggest, most successful product of all time. And the product I'm talking about is the Caviar manicure. For anybody who got their hands on that product, poured those beads onto your wet nail polish, and had that experience, it was a phenomenal product. It was right time. Nail art was blowing out. It was just, and we took it to another level where we made it 3D nail art, and it was just electric. The stock hit the store, and within, I think, 4 days, it had sold out globally, and that allowed us to grow to 4,000 stores within 12 months. That was really our moment where we arrived.
So you started at the Caviar, and now you have cheat sheets, which are my absolute favorites. You have nail wraps, the polishes. Are you guys looking to expand your nail offerings? Because we've all seen, the moment that press-on had during, quarantine, and it's still having a moment. Like, is there anything else coming in the nail category?
Well, we are definitely looking at press-ons, and looking at press-ons in a sustainable way. Because I think, that needs to be front and center of all of our product development today, and that's our responsibility as a brand. So we're definitely exploring how could we enter the world of press-ons, but as I said, in a sustainable fashion, because they're not very sustainable right now. And I think we can bring a lot to the party with press-ons, just thinking about all of the things that we did back in the day in nail. We had the Caviar, then we had the velvet, and we had the sequin and the chalkboard, and you name it, we put it on a nail. And if we could reimagine some of that, then I think we could have an extraordinary success.
Well, I will be patiently waiting because I'm obsessed with press-ons and I love all your cheat sheets. So I do want to know, though, when was the moment that you decided to pivot into makeup? Because, I love the glitter flips, your palettes. Was there a time where you're like, all right, nails, you're doing your thing, it's cute, but we need more? What was that moment like?
Yeah, so around 2014, nail was having a bit of a moment in terms of downturn. I think every retailer had taken in so many brands. There was so much choice out there for the consumer. it just became a bit overwhelming, and there was certainly too much of it out there. And I think that the consumer, there's always a best performing category, isn't there? Like, every year, last year, skincare obviously was such an incredibly performing category. And the year before it was lip, etc., etc. So there's always a best performing category. And I think that when we started to see nails soften, we kind of said, okay, we've now built an entire team, an entire infrastructure. We have, fixed overheads. We need to diversify and be and exist in more categories, so we can ride those waves of all these different categories when the time is right. And the thing is that what we knew was that our consumer loved us for innovation, pigment, texture, obviously color, it goes without saying. And so we decided that when we first launched in color in 2015, we stayed very true to the beauty triangle of eyes, lips, cheeks, because again, pigment, texture, innovation, and we really set out to innovate in those three core areas. And we actually didn't launch our first complexion product until 2019, I believe.
Wow. Wow. And I mean, I know that it's a work in progress, because I know that, just looking at the brand and how you've developed, you really take your time with product development. So I appreciate that, just not rushing into the market to just release everything because that's what's popular right now. It's done with intention. So as a makeup artist, I appreciate that, because when I'm on set, I just need products that work. You know what I mean?
Totally. And I think for the complexion strategy was also, we had to, we have to take, consider that our consumer had known us up until 2015 as a nail brand.
Mm-hmm.
So asking that consumer to then trust that we're going to be any good at complexion is a tall order,
Right.
And so this preconception that we only know nail had to be broken down first, and we had to gain consumer trust. Right. And the only way that we could do that was to continue staying in the area that we had proven ourselves in, which was innovation, texture, and pigment. And so that's why for about 4 years, all of our color focuses were around those three core tenets. And then once I think we proved ourselves and we said, hey, listen, we're showing up, we know what we're doing, we launch great formulas, our formulas work, they're performance led, then we felt confident to bring complexion to the world.
Right. I love that. Now, I have a question, and this is sort of a two-pronged question, because you've been doing partnerships that are next level. I love the Miss Piggy collection. And, recently I was on the Zoom for the Edna collab. And I noticed that you haven't really done a ton of influencer collabs. So can you tell us more about like how you've been developing your collaborations? And then are the influencer collabs, avoided on purpose? Like, what's your thought process when it comes to your partnerships?
So, I mean, we've done a lot of collabs over the years, and we did actually do a collaboration with Chloe Morello, the Australian influencer, back in 2017, I think it was, and it was fabulous. It was so perfect. We were, doing a huge launch strategy with Mecca in Australia, and it was just perfect for us. But really, what we love to do, our whole tagline is beauty unexpected. And so we love to bring the unexpected in our delivery systems, in our formulations, but also with our partnerships. Mm-hmm. And so when you see our collaborations, we want the reaction to be, wow, didn't see that coming.
Right.
Or
different.
Wow, like it's just different. It's unique. We don't necessarily want to collaborate as well for something that has a bit of a higher purpose and a higher meaning. So if you look back at Jessica Rabbit, who we collaborated with, she's kind of this fearless character out of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. She is the one saving her husband's ass in that movie, rather than being the princess waiting to be rescued from the castle. Right. And she epitomizes everything about the Ciate women. We're go-getters, we're fearless, we're empowered, and we don't sit around waiting for any man or woman to come and rescue us. We go and get it ourselves, and we're in charge of our own destiny. But she does it whilst looking glamorous and beautiful and and she's just, everything about her is like bang on for us. So we loved doing that collaboration. And then we collaborated with the Smiley World in 2020. And that whole collaboration was about making people smile, bringing some happiness and positivity into makeup. There had been, and there still is, this whole canceling culture in social media and on YouTube. And we just felt like we want to do something that just says, listen, guys, makeup is fun. It should make us feel good. It should make us feel happy. It should make us smile. We're not wearing makeup for anyone else but for us. And we're not interested in all of that negativity that is around us, especially in the beauty world. Like, there isn't an industry that is bad as this whole canceling culture and this whole negative. So we were like, Smiley is incredible. The original yellow smiley face, it transcends over so many decades. So it resonates with, we have a very broad customer demographic. So it resonates for our entire customer demographic, which is fab. Like, some people remember the smiley face when they were raving in the 80s, and then others know it because it's such part of pop culture today, and they see it adorned on their, most favorite fashion labels, etc. And so the whole collection was about, guys, we need to be happy. We need to be positive. Makeup is supposed to make us feel good and make us feel happy and confident. And then COVID, so this whole collection was meant to launch, it did launch in July 20, but we had never, obviously, no one could predict what was about to happen in the world, and that the pandemic was going to hit. So many brands paused their product launches and decided to pull back, but we decided to instead pivot, which is what we do all the time. We're built on positive pivots, and we decided to continue with our launch. And actually, it was a perfect time to say, you know what? Everyone was in lockdown. Everyone was feeling like the drag and the heavy blanket over us of everything that was happening with the pandemic. And we just took the opportunity to launch this collection, not even focusing on the makeup, but saying, hey, guys, let's all just get through this together, give people a reason to, an excuse to smile. And we took a 25-meter projection of a smiley face, gave it lips and lashes, and we projected it on the Houses of Parliament in London. So this huge smiley projection shone on the river, shone on St. Thomas's Hospital, and all these people are, fighting for their lives, and the frontline workers are working around the clock. And it was just this moment. It was probably the most viral campaign that we've ever done. But for us, we were doing it for, we weren't even talking about the makeup. It was just more about, hey, let's celebrate this and let's smile. And then obviously Miss Piggy to us was like, she's been rocking body positivity and feminism for 4 decades.
Right.
She's an author, she's an actress, she's I'm talking like she's a real person, but that's what they do at Miss Piggy as well. But she's a badass. She is, and she, like, again, it's about a higher meaning. It's like how we don't just want to take an asset of a character and slap it on a top of an eyeshadow palette. It has no meaning. It has no meaning. It doesn't. That's not what we're all about. And with Edna Mode, which you mentioned, you were on the launch Zoom. Edna is the stylist to the superheroes in The Incredibles. So she's the fashion stylist that is styling those super hero suits. And we were like, you know what? First of all, again, there's a running theme of badasses. She's a badass, but we were like, our consumer is the superhero. No matter if you are a mom, you are a career woman, you are a teacher, nurse, you're a superhero in your own right.
Right.
And we gave the Edna's collection as the stylist to our superheroes, which is our consumer.
I absolutely love that. Obviously I know, you were doing things with intention, but now I'm like, okay, I'm excited for the next, because I know you're going to continue to push the bar. I love that your products are so versatile, the color lip shadows, the eye patches. I can do a running list of my favorites, but what else can we expect from the brand? Is there anything that's coming up? Maybe a little peeky,
So we've got a lot of launches actually still to go this year, but we have So you obviously mentioned Glitter Flip earlier on in the call or in the podcast, and Glitter Flip was our most successful color launch we've ever had. It was bonkers. It was a world first, talking about that beauty unexpected, talking about how we really do push the boundaries. And that product basically transformed. For anybody that didn't get to see Glitter Flip or play with it, it was a metallic matte lip product that you put on your lips. You waited about 30 seconds for it to dry, and then you popped your lips together like this, and your lips turned into a full-on glitter lip. And that product went viral like instantly. It was insane. It was such an amazing success. And it was because nobody had ever seen a formulation like this before. And we're a really brave, fearless brand. Like, it doesn't scare us if nobody has gone and tested the waters first. We don't have to launch things because we've got, you know, an army of data analysts running all the data for us first to make sure that the product's going to hit and it's going to succeed. We are pretty scrappy when it comes to our you know, whether we're going to go with something or not, in terms of like letting our gut rule. And if it feels good and we feel like it's going to be a great product to put out there, then we go for it. So on that, we have a new version of a flipping product, which is launching in fall. It's not glittery, but it flips in a completely other way, and it's unbelievable. So watch this space. So we've been, since the launch of Glitter Flip in 2017, we have been beavering away to try to create something that has that same theatrical effect, that same emotion that Glitter Flip evoked. We've been busy. It's not easy making a formulation transform, but equally making a formulation transform, and you would, as a consumer, you want to wear it in its original state and its end state. Like, that's really hard, because you can make something, you can make some things transform, but like how it looks when you first put it on is beautiful, and then whatever reaction happens to it, you're like, I don't want to wear that now. I don't like the after look. And you also need to make sure that through the transformation, it's kind of, you never want the consumer to be like, well, why? I don't even want that to happen, because if I wanted to wear that, I'd just wear that. I don't need a product to deliver that for me. So pleased to say we have cracked it. We've got our brand new flipping product launching in fall. We've got another collaboration launching this year, which is super exciting. We've got a whole bronzing collection coming up in any day now, which I'm super excited about, because it's just smells delicious. It smells of holiday. It's just luscious and gorgeous. And yeah.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited because I know it's going to be amazing. I still have some of my glitter flips. And I love that you were really innovative with the colors too. There was like this deep green. There was like so many like fun colors that was really pushing the bar. But you are brilliant. Your story is inspiring. You have given your time so generously. So I have to say thank you so much. If you guys are listening, please go support the brand. Give it a follow. I promise you, it's amazing. But thank you so much, Charlotte.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Can't wait to see you again in real life.
Oh my goodness, yes.